evening, everyone, and welcome back to Chortle Cast, the official podcast of Chortle Games Halloween. I'm Jake.
I'm Brody, and I'm putting on my Halloween costume.
Oh, you know what? Hang on, I can make costumes happen real quick. Go ahead, keep rolling. Who are you?
I'm Pika.
Who are you, Leigh Alison?
Pikachu.
She has Pika.
You're Leigh Alison?
Oh.
That's your name?
She's not Pikachu now?
Pikachu.
Oh, here, you want to be
Yeah,
Pikachu?
you
Here, you can be
No,
Pikachu.
you messed up my hair. No.
Okay, well, I'll be Pikachu. This is Leigh Alison. And we also have Steven.
Do I need to be in costume?
Yeah. Throw you a
Okay, hold
costume
on.
together real
Hold
quick,
on.
Steven.
I'm Emo Steven.
Ah, nice.
Leigh Alison, do you want to be like a person with a canteen?
No, I'm not thirsty. Oh.
There you go. We're all prepared. Welcome to Chortle Cast, the official podcast of Chortle Games. I'm Jake, Brody, Leigh Alison. This is where we talk about TV show, anime, games, spooky things, whatever the heck we want to talk about.
Conspiracy theories.
Today, we're talking about conspiracy theories, and we brought Leigh Alison on because she is an avid lover of conspiracy theories.
She's a conspiracy
I am.
theorist.
I really
You know,
am.
I really accidentally planned my costume really well.
Because your shirt matches?
Because I'm wearing a Pikachu shirt, and I have a Pikachu hat.
Planned.
Yeah, as planned as this is. So, and Steven's along for the ride.
That describes
He's
me
here
in
to
a
scoff
situation.
at conspiracies.
I will fight him. He
And-
has already tried to say one of mine is wrong.
Leigh
and I will
Alison is ready to fight
him.
him. So,
I will fight you on one, but I'm okay with some conspiracy
Okay,
theories.
well, one of mine is stupid, so it's okay. But one of them, we'll get there.
we'll get there. Thank you for tuning in. This is going to be a great show. We're going to talk about all sorts of conspiracies that Leigh Alison has pulled together for us. We're going to give our thoughts. A few housekeeping notes for you. Our Halloween is almost up here on Chortle Games. We've got 2 more episodes coming up. We'll have a podcast following that week's Friday. So it's like November 3rd or something like that. I can't remember right off the top of my head. But then we'll be taking a break from the channel for a week. So the first week in November, or actually the first full week in November, we will not be posting anything. So keep that in mind. We hope you've been enjoying October's spooky bits, though. So
Is the last podcast before the break? Is that the one with the guest?
no,
That's the one after the break.
no.
No?
I'll explain to you later.
Okay.
It's
I don't know what they're
complicated.
talking about.
Anyway, it's hot in its hat. So Leigh Alison, what's our first conspiracy
Her.
theory that
Okay.
you have?
For the
planned?
video people, Jake's going to flash something on the screen.
I'm going to show some images. Audio people will do our best to describe what's happening.
Okay, Jake and Brody, what's that?
That is the Titanic.
It does look like the
In
Titanic,
every-
but I'm assuming that this is not the Titanic.
It's the Titanic. What you think of when you think of the Titanic? It's just a nice boat, black and white. Yeah. It's got
Yeah,
a
that
tugboat.
sure looks like the Titanic. It's not.
It's not? Do I just click?
No, not yet.
Oh,
That is the HMS Olympic.
okay.
So this whole conspiracy theory is basically that the sinking of the Titanic was insurance fraud.
Okay.
Let me get my notes. So the Titanic.
Steven's face is so funny.
Steven was like, this
This
is already...
one's plausible.
No,
Steve.
no, no,
He
no,
was
no,
like,
no, no.
this is already
I'm
bullshit.
interested. Go on.
He's
I'm
frozen.
ready.
He froze. Say it again.
I'm back. It froze for a sec. I'm here. I'm interested.
Okay, he's
Okay.
in. He's in now. All right, go ahead, Leigh Alison.
So the Titanic was owned by a cruise ship line called White Star Line. And I don't know the exact date. It's somewhere in my notes. But the Olympic is an older ship than the Titanic. Not much older, but older. It had already been around and stuff. And it was in a collision with a smaller boat called the Hawk, I believe. Some
Is that
people
it?
say the Hulk.
The
No.
Hulk.
No, that's just
Some
like a
people
little
say it's the
tugboat.
Hulk, but more of the sources I've read say it was the Hawk. And it basically wrecked the ship. Like, it looked fine, but it's kind of like if you totaled your car, it doesn't run like it's supposed to. It kind of lilted to one side. And a lot of eyewitness accounts say that it was the Hawk's fault, but for whatever reason, the Olympic was blamed. So they weren't going to get any insurance money for it. So they brought it back into port. and were like, this is off duty, bad ship, don't get on it. Also, since White Star Lines, who own the Olympic and also own the Titanic, since they were dealing with all this legal stuff with the Olympic, they had to push back the voyage date of the Titanic like a month and a half. I think it was supposed to set sail in March, and we all know it went like April 10th, I believe, and sunk on the 12th. Yeah, my birthday. So there's that. Go to the next slide. So they look very similar, but one thing that a lot of people have seen is when they were building the Titanic, they had evenly spaced portholes on this side here. And then the Olympic had these smaller, not as evenly spaced windows.
For those of you that are listening to audio, basically we've got two pictures of the ships. We've got the RMS Olympic on top, the Titanic on the bottom. Basically, the Titanic has big windows on its deck, and the RSS Olympic is very thin. So, go ahead.
Yeah. So really, there was a short period of time when the Olympic and the Titanic were in the same port. And the whole theory is when people weren't paying that close attention, because like we showed with the first slide, they look very similar.
Right.
They think they were switched so that they could sink the Titanic, claim the insurance money on that, and earn back all the money they lost with the Olympic by sinking the Olympic and keeping the Titanic, which is now named the Olympic.
Interesting. Okay.
That makes sense? So, when the Titanic pictured, it had 14 evenly spaced portholes.
Right.
And when it left Southampton, it had 16 unevenly spaced portholes. Go to the next slide as well.
Next slide.
So this is a picture of what's on the ocean floor,
So,
and they've enhanced it and then whited it out. And you can see that the portholes are unevenly spaced, and at the
Right.
very bottom, it shows you that the Titanic, from when it was being built, had those evenly spaced portholes there.
That's really, really convincing.
Yeah,
The
I know, right?
Audio listeners, I mean, it's a picture of the wrecked Titanic that's at the bottom of the ocean. I mean, just like Leigh Alison said, it's got really narrow windows that are all wacky that you can see, and then the bottom is a photo of the Titanic, and it's spaced out evenly. My question is, and I know you're going to continue, Leigh Alison, but I'm wondering if somebody has just mixed up the names and you know what I mean? If someone just missed, what we know as the Titanic was actually the Olympic and vice versa, but there still was the wreck.
Pictures
You know
of
what I
the
mean?
building, while they were building the Titanic, and that matches the evenly spaced portholes.
Gotcha.
So another thing, when the Titanic went out on April 10th, another ship called the SS Californian.
Steven's face listening to this is the best part of this whole thing.
The SS Californian also went on a voyage to go to, I believe, Boston. Could be wrong. I think they was going to Boston. It left so quickly, it didn't take time to sell any tickets, which tons of people would have been trying to get to Boston, so that's stupid. And the only thing it was carrying was a ton of blankets and stuff, rescue stuff. It was weird. So that was weird. And it had a newer type of radar, something, I don't know. So it sent out a message to the Titanic with a map of the known icebergs in the area. And that message was delayed, not a normal way. It was kept up somewhere and not sent to them. Also, on April 10th, it was a clear night. Forget what the movie was. It was a clear night, and this iceberg should have been visible from 8 miles away. And the Titanic was 3 miles off of its course it was supposed to be on. Which, I get it, you can get a little off, but 3 miles?
Right.
I mean,
Is there another picture?
I don't know. I can't drive a ship. No.
Okay. All right. So don't need to click
I
away.
can't drive a ship, so I could probably go off 3 miles, but I don't think
a professional would have done that.
Ship person. What's that called? Captain. Captain.
I'm the captain now.
I'm a professional ship person now. So.
Okay, yeah,
Is
the
there any-
SS Californian was a small cargo of blankets and warm clothes. Perhaps this was for the passengers and crew from the Titanic. Yeah, he didn't sell any tickets for his voyage to Boston. Weird. Okay, one other thing.
I was about to say, is there anything else? Steven, are you still with us? Your
Yeah,
face looks like it's...
I'm with you. Yeah.
Okay.
You look
Every
like
time I
your
look
face is,
over,
like,
your
melting.
your face is really slow. I don't know why our signal's so bad tonight.
We've got like a good 140p thing going on.
Okay, last point about the Titanic. So, or I guess there's two more things.
Mm-hmm.
So there are like shipbuilders who like said that they knew that the two were shipped, but they were threatened by the three owners that if they said anything, it would be the last job they ever worked on. And there's a quote that someone sent into a paper. Let me find it. It's a letter that they sent into the paper that says, when the surviving crew got to port, they were all taken aside and met by two men, one in a high position in the company and the other man was a very high position in the government. The government man read the crew the Official Secrets Act, explaining that if they told of the real reason for the sinking, the rumors of an insurance scam, they would serve a minimum of 20 years in jail and never get a job when they got out. Which, I mean, I guess that's not from a valid source and we can't prove it, but I mean, it's there. It was in the paper, which can be lied about, but still. And then there were a couple people who mysteriously last minute canceled their tickets to the Titanic, including J.P. Morgan, one of the shipbuilder's wife and his two kids, and someone else.
That is
and
crazy.
Both of those people, their reason for canceling was ill health. J.P. Morgan was spotted 2 days later in Italy, France. And the shipbuilder's wife and children canceled due to the wife's ill health were spotted on a motoring holiday in Wales several days later.
They had to give excuses to
get out of the ship,
tickets?
yeah.
Well, just because they were such
Ranking people.
high-ranking people, because J.P. Morgan had in papers specifically saying he was going to be on this voyage. He was going on the maiden voyage. He also had, this could be wrong, but I read that he had 3 very expensive statues, like bronze statues that he was sending over, that he had removed the day before the Titanic left.
That's interesting. I want to say 2 things first. When I asked Leigh Alison to do this, you went way in. You have all the details. I'm very impressed. I'm pretty convinced. I think this is a sleazy enough thing for a company to do. You know what I mean? If they wanted to do it. These pictures are really compelling. I wish you could see them, Steven. They're really, really, I don't know, hard to argue with if they're actual pictures. But my question is, if they were going to do this, why did they put so many people on the ship?
Yeah, see, that's where it gets kind of iffy.
Like, I understand trying to wreck it, and maybe you need
Well,
a valid reason.
How could they, if they started getting people off of it, would they be able to collect the insurance? Because it would start to look like fraud.
Or I don't know, have some rescue boats a reasonable distance away.
They had plenty on the Titanic.
Right.
There were plenty on. People are just stupid.
Well, okay then.
Well, they didn't fill them up.
Right.
You've heard all of that. They had plenty to rescue everyone off the Titanic because that's regulation. But they were sending them off a third full.
I didn't know about that.
People were too
Seriously?
busy trying to romance each other and stuff.
Yeah, they were too busy painting people like they're French ladies. Steven, do you have anything to comment on this one?
I always thought there was some sketchy stuff surrounding the Titanic, so I'm not gonna try to discredit this one. It's definitely interesting. That's about all I'll stop at.
I feel like
3 brapples.
Right. I feel like there's a company out there that would be sleazy enough to do this and it not be a big deal. So anyway, okay. What's your next one, Leigh Alison? Do I need to click on our
You can. I don't need it yet, though.
Okay.
So the next one's a little bit stupid, but there's like a lot of evidence for it.
The Walmart
like,
conspiracy.
Weird evidence.
The Walmart.
So this one's FEMA camps. Have you heard of this one, Steven? Okay, it's kind of weird.
Are you going to explain what FEMA camps are?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm just going to do the whole thing without explaining the basic premise.
Go ahead.
So, okay. FEMA is the U.S. Federal Emergency and Management Agency. It's responsible for devising plans in case of a giant nationwide emergency, like an invasion or a bombing. So basically, if there's an emergency, these people are going to come take care of us.
Mm-hmm.
And if something super...
Take care of us.
If something super crazy happens, these people are supposed to come and, like, martial law would probably be enacted, like...
Mm-hmm.
Imagine North Korea, boom, something like that. So
a zombie apocalypse, whatever.
Something along those lines. So the whole theory is that they might control us a bit more than they need to and put us into these camps, like pseudo concentration camps almost, like not to torture us, but to like keep us under control. And, like, just to make things go more smoothly so they can get us to do what they want. Mm-hmm. Weird already. But the whole idea is, what if these FEMA camps were something really mundane that we didn't even notice? Like, what is something huge that's in every town? Mm-hmm. It's got a big parking lot that could be used for all of the, like, government parking, tanks, all that stuff. Like, what's something that every single place has? Walmart. They're huge. Mm-hmm. Everywhere. Mm-hmm. So what kind of...
I mean, that's what defines a town, is if you have a Walmart.
Yeah, you're
it's
not
like
a town
when
if you
you're
don't have
that's
a
when you're a
Walmart.
big deal. You got a Walmart.
So that's what makes you a town. You get the gold star for having
Say that again, Steven.
That's what makes you a town. You get a gold star for having a Walmart.
Exactly. Literally, a gold sun.
Gold star.
A gold sun.
So what really set this off is there were 5 Walmarts that all went down for a couple months in April of 2015. Mm-hmm. They were in Pico Rivera, California, Livingston, Texas, Midland, Texas, Brandon, Florida, and Tulsa, Oklahoma. They closed their doors, and Walmart announced that these would be shuttered for like 6 months. And the reason they gave for this was plumbing issues. How hard is it to fix plumbing issues?
I'd say it's a day or two's work, depending on how big it is.
I mean, like, Walmarts are big. Like, yeah, maybe give it a couple weeks. But 6 months?
Whoa.
These Walmarts were closed for 6 months? So, that was weird in and of itself. So, but they weren't just, like, shut down. Like, if you look at this picture, the windows are completely blocked out. Like, there are windows behind those pillars.
Right.
They're blacked out. And then there's unmarked cars. Mm-hmm. Like, this car right here is completely unmarked. Like, weird unmarked cars. Mm-hmm. And then people in the area, like, they started noticing a higher, like, government... Presence. Yeah, like, there were more of, like... You know, sometimes when you're driving down the highway and, like, all of a sudden you're by a convoy of, like...
Black cars.
No, like the big tanks and then like
yeah.
Like sometimes you're just by a convoy of them. They started seeing tons of those in all 5 of these areas, and they started hearing like loud bangs in the night. Like it sounded like they were like drilling something into the ground, which that's a whole different theory that they were connecting these FEMA camps underground. There's not as much proof for that, but other than like. There are video testimony of people saying they heard these loud booms and that they think that they were doing this. Mm-hmm. Let me do my notes. Blah, 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 blah.
For audio listeners, this just looks like just what you normally think of a Walmart. But literally, yeah, all the windows that you can see are just covered in, they look black. At first, I thought it was just because they're, like, the Walmart is in shadow. But now that you mention it, there's some over here in the corner that you really can't. It's just pitch black.
Okay, so all that I just said. Okay, click to the next picture.
All right.
See, there's another picture. They have the complete Windows, all of the doors completely blacked out, which is weird. But some of these Walmarts kept, this is the Pico Rivera one, the one in California, by the way.
Okay.
Some of the Walmarts kept their pharmacy open a little bit later because people needed to pick up their prescriptions. So this whole video, it has been since taken down, but I found screenshots of it. She went to this, which is where all these videos are from. She lived in Pico Rivera. Go to the next one. It's just a close up of these, like, not just a little bit blacked out. Like, I mean,
it looks like a trash bag
cannot
is
see
stretched
through
across.
this.
Yeah, the whole
It's
thing.
completely blacked out. Go to the next one. They cleared all of the shelves in the entire Walmart.
This is an image of shelves that are just completely empty. Some of them look like they're even like taken down.
See,
the
like,
shelves.
I understand, like, if you're going to be closed for a little bit, you would take out all your perishables and all that stuff. But, like, some of the stuff that has a really long shelf life, like, why would you completely clear out a Walmart? That is full of stuff.
Like pillows, clothing. That's not gonna.
Why would you take it all out? I don't understand. Go back. That's not for this one. Jake! Jake!
World?
Stop!
Sorry, it went the wrong way.
So, this lady, when she went in to get her prescription, she said everything was boarded up, everything was empty. This is a screenshot from a video. There's more video. And then as soon as someone noticed her filming, a police officer came up to her, told her she had to stop, and then removed her from the building. So, I don't know what's going on, but something weird is happening.
That's crazy. I mean, just the fact of if something like that was going to happen, whether or not this is real or not, if something like this had to happen, like we did have a national emergency where FEMA had to be inactive, every place has a Walmart. Like, even if this isn't their plan right now, it sounds like a good plan later, like that could happen in the moment.
Maybe we're giving them ideas.
You know, I mean, like, really. I mean, if an emergency was going to happen, that would be the easiest place to get everybody in one spot. But, I don't know.
They kind of messed up our highway here, so.
So you hate them?
Yeah, it'd probably take a while to get to our Walmart.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that way. I'd go some other way.
Have you seen the new Walmart?
No, not yet. Have they built it already?
It's coming up. It's right over there.
Starkville has to have 2.
I mean,
What's up, Walmart?
Hey. Well, do you know how many people are here? We're going to need a lot of FEMA camp space if that happens.
Maybe that's why we got another one.
There you go. You know what we should have done? What would have been smart was to pay attention to the foundation that they were laying as they were doing
if there was a hole to connect it to the other Walmart.
If there was a lot of space, that would have been smart if we were smart.
A crazy tunnel all the way from California to Florida.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know that that's structurally.
Well, it's already proven that there are underground tunnels. It's just whether or not they're connected to these FEMA camp Walmarts. Like, there is a system of underground tunnels that the government uses. It might not be that extensive. Yeah.
That's crazy. I've never heard of that. Have you heard of that, Steven?
Maybe vaguely, but that sounds believable enough.
I don't think it's as extensive as this is saying that it could be, but they're also not saying that it's not there. Like, we don't know that it's not that extensive. There is underground.
How long until we get access to these underground highways? Because I would love to do that, to drive underground across the United States of America.
I've always thought about how much it would suck once everyone gets, like, flying cars. Air traffic would suck.
It would. Air traffic would suck. Then we go underground.
Well, what if we open, like, all 3 so you can, like, choose to drive in the air, on the ground,
Everyone would
or
choose
underground?
air.
I would choose air.
That would be so chaotic.
It would be.
I think I would just stay home.
But then as stupid as, like, people can't even drive cars. Do you trust people to basically, like,
People
fly
can't
cars?
drive boats.
pilot,
Did you see the Titanic? People can't drive
That's true.
boats.
Well, people can drive boats into icebergs, according to your theory.
Even
True.
professionally trained boatmen cannot drive boats. So.
Well, unless he did it on purpose, then he did it really well.
Exactly.
He hit that iceberg so good.
I'm bringing it back to FEMA camps. I'm just a little nervous. Like, that makes me nervous to think of everybody in our town in that one Walmart.
No,
I mean,
kill everyone.
I've been there when it's just a busy time, and it's crazy packed.
That's
So I
scary.
can't imagine.
I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
If
Well,
there's that
what if
big
you
of-
had to go there? What if the government forced
Yeah,
you to
what
go
if, like,
there? Like,
martial
what if
law,
they
you
were
were
hunting
forced to
people
go there?
down
Yeah.
and
Like
taking
when
you
we
there?
went to that event in town a couple weeks ago.
Right,
That
right.
was too much for me.
Oh yeah, it was
that
way
was
crazy. We were
horrible.
packed in like sardines. It was a concert. Yeah, it's crazy. I hated that. Steven,
Yeah.
you really hated that. You were on the sidewalk high up.
Well, for an asthmatic that doesn't do well in crowds, that was just a fun time.
Yeah, it was. Steven and I were there before everybody else, and we were the two that didn't want to go.
Yep.
All right,
Everybody else was drinking.
True.
that does help. And I was doing yeah. That's the only reason I was able to stay with you guys was I drank a little bit, and that
Not
made it
yet.
better. Not
Don't
yet.
do it.
Okay.
She hasn't said what it is.
Holy
Yet.
moly! All right, we're moving on to the next topic, Leigh Alison. What is
And
it?
I will fight you, Steven. The Mandela effect is real.
No. Okay. Go ahead.
The Mandela effect is real.
Real.
I will fight you. I saved the best one for last because I will actually fight people about the last one.
I'm sure most people watching have
Most people have
probably
probably
heard
heard
of
of
the
the-
Mandela effect, but do explain it,
Wait, I need my notes.
kind of where it came from.
So it was coined when, let's see, let me get her name.
Is it not Nelson
Nelson.
Mandela?
Nelson.
No, he didn't start the Mandela
He didn't
effect.
say, my name's Nelson
So-
Mandela and everything's a lie.
It's
Fiona
credited
Broom,
to
by the
a
way.
blogger named Fiona Broom. She supposedly coined the term to describe a collective false memory. She was at a convention and she realized that a lot of other people, including her, remembered Nelson Mandela dying in the 80s when he was in prison, in the 80s, 90s. And they realized this when Mandela actually did die in 2013. December 5th, 2013 is when he actually died. But so many people remembered that he died in prison. So that's what started it. But it's a phenomenon in which a large number of people share false memories of past events referred to as confabulation. Fun word.
Confabulation? That's the
That's what it's called in
scientific
psychiatry.
name? Oh, psychiatry, okay.
Some people have speculated the memories are caused by parallel universes spilling out into our own, while others explain the phenomenon as a failure of a collective memory. Other theorists say someone traveled back in time and changed something small, which caused a ripple effect to change other things. So, weird stuff like that. I don't really know about all that, but something somehow makes the Mandela effect real. Steven, I will fight you. Yes, Steven?
Steven's raising his hand.
There is a term in psychology called false memories.
I said that 4 times already. I will fight you.
Okay. False memories basically dictate that through some kind of interference, whether it's false media reports, some kind of societal interaction, that people can remember things differently. Whether it's like, I think one I read about was a acceptance speech. Someone gave a certain
You
acceptance
like
speech
me.
and
You
it's
really
misquoted.
like me.
Yes, it's misquoted. It was Sally Field. Now, I don't know how that one became, how it was quoted, but an example of that would be a comedian makes fun of acceptance speech and quotes and gives their own quote, and then that suddenly becomes the prevalent quote, even though it's not the original. Luke, I am your father was never said in the movie. It's no, I am your father. Spoilers, sorry. And that just comes down to, upbringing, where you are, like the Berenstein Bears. How is it actually
That's the one
pronounced?
I will
Berenstain?
fight you about. It is
How's-
Berenstein Bears, and I will fight you.
So, Steven, I think you're bringing up some good points. Let's let Leigh Alison go through her
I
examples,
will
and then
fight
you can continue with this.
Yes.
Let me make sure I don't
Because
have anything.
I know you're going to run through all of them, and she's going to be mad at me later.
I will. Yes,
She didn't get
accurate.
to explain them all.
Okay, so he already did the Luke,
I'm
I
sorry,
am
I
your
thought
father.
it was my turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
he didn't say that. Oh, go to the next one. That's a book called English Alive, which when I had originally heard of this piece of evidence, it said it was a history book, but it looks more like an English book.
Right.
So I don't know how credible that is, but it has a quote in it that says, Nelson Mandela died on the 23rd of July, 1991. brought to January 29th, 1991 in Jackson, blah, 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 blah. So, like, it says in that book, which could not be a credible source. I don't know. This is, like, the image I could find where it showed what book it was from.
But at the very least, there's somebody who wrote a book that thought the same
thing. A published
thing.
book that says Nelson Mandela died in 1991, which he did not. He died in 2013.
Right.
Okay. I have a couple more quotes before we get to our pictures. So, what did Forrest Gump say about chocolate?
Life is like a box of chocolates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people say life is like a box of chocolates. He said life was like a box of chocolates, which could just be misquotes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Hannibal Lecter, what did he say? And it's like the most famous quote from the movie.
Ooh, is that the lotion on the skin thing? No.
It's when he meets the detective, right?
He says, "Hello, Clarice." He never said that. He says, "Good morning." Like he never in the movie says, "Hello, Clarice." And then, what does the Wicked Queen in Snow White say to the mirror?
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?
Nope. Magic mirror on the wall.
Who's the ballin'-ist of them all?
And I quote.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so those are just some examples, like, from movies and stuff. The biggest one is Luke, I am your father, and he actually says, "No, I am your father."
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let me look at the picture before we go to it so I can phrase a question really good.
Phrase the question properly.
Okay,
Phrased it, shoot.
Jake, where do we eat chicken all the time?
Chick-fil-A.
How do you spell Chick-fil-A? This one blew my mind.
CHICKIF.
No.
Wait.
What the hell?
Hang on, I got Chick-fil-A. I gotta write it down. CHICK. That's
You're
chick.
already wrong.
And then FILA.
Brady?
I always spell it CHICFAL. No, I'm confused.
You got
But
right.
CHIC filet.
Yeah,
See, that's what I thought it was.
it's CHIC.
Clicking. Pond.
No, there's a K.
The hell?
I know. I never knew there was a K.
See, I spelled a K.
Steven,
Yes.
what was it? Because you worked there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was a K at first. And then I got corrected by a teacher at school for misspelling it
By putting a K?
by putting a K. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So,
see, I always thought there wasn't a K.
so we're looking at a logo, and it's
Here you
CHICK
go, Steven.
dash FIL-A.
He can
See?
see us.
So
Oh, he can't see us.
He can't see us.
Here's my notes. Camera.
That's really freaky.
I fixed it. Don't worry. Okay.
I spelled it
You
right,
spelled
though.
Chick-fil-A.
Well, hey,
Chick-fil-A.
I'm just, I'm not good at spelling.
Chick-fil-A.
That's not my
Jake
not my skill
spelled
point.
Chick-fil-A.
Chicken fly.
Chick-fil-A.
Chicken fly.
Okay, go to the next one.
All right, go into the next
Which
one.
one's Curious George?
The one without
this
the
one.
tail.
Yeah, without the tail. Which I knew that one, but some people got messed up by
So
that
some
one.
people think Curious George had a tail.
I mean, why wouldn't a monkey have a tail?
Yeah.
He's an ape. Apes don't have tails.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
He's pretty small to be.
I have gone off to you about this one
Chimpanzees
before.
are apes. What do you want from me?
Don't click yet.
All right, I'm not clicking
I
yet.
have gone off to you about this one before, so you can't say it. Brody, please describe Pikachu to me.
How appropriate that I wore this shirt today.
Are we talking about the thing with the tail?
Yeah.
Was it like no stripes or?
Yeah, is
What do
there
you
a black
think- what do
stripe
you
on
think
his
he
tail, or
has?
is there not?
I've always thought there was a black stripe on.
I
his
always
tail.
thought there was a black stripe.
Like
Steven?
on the very end of its tail.
Does Pikachu have a black stripe on its tail, Steven?
No.
He does not.
He does not.
But I
So-
remember it, and a lot of the internet and Reddit believes that there was a stripe on the end of his tail.
I feel like I remember this too. In the first,
Oh shit.
stuff. Do you have any images from like old stuff that has it where people see it?
Not of these. The only one that I've gone really heavy on is Berenstein Bears because I will fight you.
Okay.
Okay. Can you describe the Monopoly Man to me?
The Monopoly Man.
Yeah,
He's
on the box.
got
He's
a
like
bowler
running.
hat.
Yeah.
He's in a nice suit. He's got a bow tie. Maybe a cane.
Some glasses.
Glasses.
I thought he had
He's got a
glasses.
monocle.
Oh yeah.
He's got a monocle.
Steven?
Steven, anything to add?
He does not have a monocle.
He does not have a monocle.
I was just about to say the monocle's like the one thing I'm sure about.
Everyone remembers the monocle. There is no monocle. My
Really?
theory on
I
this
never
one,
remembered there being a monocle.
I totally do.
I always did, but I think my theory about this one is there's that Peanut Man who has a cane and
he's
he
got
has
a
a
monocle?
monocle. So I think we let people scooched them
I
together.
guess not. I thought he did have a monocle though, because he was like all fancy.
Okay.
Fancy people have monocles. It's like a law.
The law.
The law.
Okay, so the
first one.
old show with Bugs Bunny.
Looney Tunes.
Yes, spell it.
L-O-O.
We know how great I am at spelling.
T-U-N-E-S.
Looney.
Just spell tunes.
Looneytons.
Okay, a lot of people remember it as TOONS because it's like cartoons,
Yeah,
but
it was
it's
made for
tunes,
music.
so it's music.
I think they said
What?
the show was originally made to like show off a bunch of music. or
No, because the logo looks so much better with the two O's on both sides.
Well, it's tunes.
I thought that was the whole idea. Because the circle logo has 4 O's in it, and so does the
something. I
name.
think that's supposed to be like a vinyl disc, maybe.
That makes sense, but it also has 4 circles.
Go to the next one.
That messes with my mind because
Go to the next one.
because it's cartoons.
The next one's still Looney Tunes. Go to the next one. See,
What?
There's that old one showing.
This
that
is
it's
a
Looney
lie.
Tunes.
This is a lie. This is a lie. Also, look at how big Porky the Pig used to be.
That
Same
quality
with
though.
Pikachu. Pikachu used to be a little fat ass.
God, yes, Brody's going off on Pikachu now. He did used to be very thick in the older
Big boys.
boys. Hashtag big boys.
Hey!
Sorry.
Dude.
Jacob!
Sorry. I always think about it this way. Steven didn't know. All right, go on to the next question.
Sex blank blank city.
Sex in the city.
Is it Sex on the City?
Sex.
It's
Steven,
sex
Steven, what do you say it?
It's Sex and the City.
Is Steven just
and?
smarter than us? Is Steven's brain just better than ours at remembering things?
Steven's already done research. He knows all these.
It's
Sex
and,
and
not
the city.
in. And there's like
I've heard of Pikachu and the Monopoly Man, but I haven't heard of these.
I
Sex
thought it
in the
was
City?
Sex in the City.
everyone thinks it's Sex in the City, and there's old videos of award shows where it's, I think Simon Cowell maybe and Donald Trump. Funnily enough, they were announcing the
The winners.
award. No,
Or
it's
the nominees,
The
nominations.
nominees, yeah. And he says 3 times "Sex in the City, Sex in the City, Sex in the City," which maybe he's British and I just
See, I
hear it wrong.
I thought the whole
but-
point of the show was they were having sex in the city.
No, I thought too.
Did you
No,
watch
and
the show?
I'm about to get my man card revoked. The whole point of the show is it's a woman and her friends, and she writes a blog called Sex and the City, right? Is that right?
Made him watch
Sure.
it.
Look,
I-
none of us.
I don't even
none of
watch
us have
Sex
watched
and the
it. So
City.
you're telling us.
I've never seen an episode.
All I
Not
know
a
is that they
single
drink
episode.
martinis a lot or something. I think. I may not even know that.
Again, since a few podcasts ago we talked about how stupid young Jake was. Young Jake was just like the word sex and didn't watch it. So
Sex.
I didn't click anything. I'm just getting ready because I know you're moving on.
Okay, Kit Kat.
K-I-T-K-A-T.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is there a dash?
Yeah.
I think so.
No.
Kit dash cat. No.
There is no dash.
Steven, you didn't think there was one?
No.
I
not
blew
one.
my friend's mind because I buy her a Kit Kat on
Uh,
her birthday every year, and anytime she's sad, I buy her a Kit Kat, and I was like, please describe
Okay.
a Kit Kat.
I agree with this because the way they've got it mocked up here is not how I remember it. They've got, so the mock-up we have seen for audio listeners is it's Kit Kat logo, but like there's a dash on top of it.
Who edited
and,
this?
and not really, it's not really spaced between them, which is how I
Who
remember
did
it.
this
But
Photoshop?
it's the worst Photoshop I've ever seen in my life.
Just been past it.
Now, the cream of the crop.
This
Next
is Leigh
picture.
Allison's favorite one.
Oh,
So.
yeah.
What are these bears called?
They're the Berenstein Bears.
Steen.
It's Berenstein, and
Bernstein.
I will fight you. Next page.
That
But apparently-
doesn't make sense.
Beren-
Apparently the
Berenstain
world
Bears.
thinks it's Berenstain, and that is bull. I will fight anyone who tries to tell me it's Berenstain. I will fight you. Come here and I will fight you.
And a new argument that I proposed today when I was talking to my boss about this is Wolfenstein, the game that's coming out, is spelled pretty similar to
That
how
doesn't matter.
we remember
like,
this.
Steen is like a pretty common last name, but like Stain is a weird. I don't know.
I mean, they're bears. How common is a bear's last name? Just saying.
Bears don't even have last names.
Okay, another thing is not yet. Okay, I first was introduced to the Berenstain Bears with books, like the little flip through, learn
Picture
to read
books.
books, the little picture books. And when you were that little, you don't just like read over words. You sit there and you sound out every single word because you don't know how to read yet. So you're sitting there and you're like,
still don't know how to read.
Berenstain. So if we were going that close, I'm saying we collectively because the world knows this is true. You read it if you read it that slow, we would not have said Berenstain. We would have sounded out the A and said Berenstain. That's very compelling to me. Go to the next picture. Here's an old video.
Old VHS.
And it says Berenstain on the top, but look at the side.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, at the very top it says Berenstain spelled with an A, and the bottom it says the Berenstein spelled with an E. I just said it even weirder. I said it wrong. Berenstein.
Frankenstein.
Now see,
Frankenstein.
this, I've seen another one of these that was like a book, and on the top it had Berenstain, and the bottom it had Berenstein. I'm still saying it wrong. Why am I saying it funny? Berenstain.
Frankenstein.
And I wonder if this is the product of a misspelling error
It's a
by
typo.
somebody who also
It's a
thought it
typo
was
that got out of
Steen.
hand.
Yeah. That's
Steven,
what I'm
I will
wondering.
fight you. It's Berenstain. Go to the next one.
Frankenstein.
So at the
I
top
was
it
raised to
says
think it was Berenstain as well, actually.
And on the book, like the picture that they stole like from the book to put on these things, it says Berenstain. Look right there and then right there.
So this is two dolls from the show.
It's Mama Bear and Brother
One-
Bear.
Is that
It's
Mama Bear?
Sister Bear.
That
Sister
says
Bear.
Mama Bear.
Yeah,
It
but
does
look-
say Mama
but
Bear,
I'm
you're
looking at
right.
the oh, well, I mean, yeah, but
Uh,
I'll start with the picture.
So it says Berenstain at the top, and then the image that they use, it has Berenstain.
It's like a clip
Steen.
picture
Steen.
from like the books. It looks like, and it says Berenstain. I will fight you if you try to tell me it's different.
Is there another one?
No.
That's it?
Yes.
I tend to, I was thinking about this today. I do think that it is a spelling error that got out of hand, but like, how did it get this far without
think it's a
someone
spelling
noticing
error.
is what I want to know.
I don't completely fall into the trap of time travelers or a slip in the universe, like, but I do think something caused this to happen. Something had to have gone awry somewhere, which, if we think about it logically, in the future there probably will be time travel and someone could have come back in time, but that's... I don't want to argue about that, but I will argue with you about Berenstain Bears.
Skynet takes over in the future, and they send back their
Schwarzenegger?
their
Arnold
savior.
Schwarzenegger went
And
back in
the
time
one
just
thing-
to change the name of a cartoon show.
That's what causes the rise of Skynet. Is Berenstain Bears had to put a stop to it. Make 'em
Berenstain.
Bears.
Berenstain. That is very interesting. Is that all your conspiracies for today?
Yes, I had some other ones, but they were too extensive, and I would be going on like 5-6 pages of notes. But
There was
like,
one about a dragon on the
everyone-
moon.
No, y'all all need to go look up that video because it's a good one. It's like the Golden Dragon, Operation Golden Dragon on the moon. It's like from 1967. Sanders, I think, is his YouTube name. It's like an hour long, but like it's pretty convincing.
Well, hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Chortle Cast. We do hope you have enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, you're already at chortlegames.com, and you can leave us a nice little comment on there. Also, if you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at chortlecast@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought of these
You
conspiracies.
can also send an email straight there about Berenstain Bears, and I will fight with you.
Leigh Alison will fight you in that email.
Guaranteed.
You can also tweet us at Chortle Games, and we'll tweet you back.
Comment more Mandela effects because I love them.
Yeah, I honestly, as you know, argumentative as it can be, I do find them really fascinating that people
Say whatever you
remember it
want except for
differently.
Berenstain Bears, or I will fight you.
And like you were saying, Steven, it's all the false memory stuff that people have created for themselves. I think that's interesting too.
Are you
He's
okay?
just nodding his head. Brody's holding the question block. Huh? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, thanks for tuning in this time. Remember, next week we're going to have Monday and Tuesday is going to end our Halloween videos. We're going to be playing Killing Floor with Steven and maybe Miles. It depends on if he shows up. You'll have to watch and find out. And then we'll be closing off the month with some good old-fashioned Overwatch Halloween edition. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And then we won't have a video Wednesday, but we will have a podcast Friday, and then we're going to be taking a week off. So look forward to all that. We'll see you next time. Any final words for this episode?
Berenstein.
Ravioli, give me the formioli.
Steven?
His mic doesn't
Oh.
work.
Everything is a lie. We'll see you next time.